Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce,
Patrick Coe,
and Marcus Hurley.
I was just listening to Jim Sterling talking about Evolve.
Yep.
You tried that?
Yeah.
You have?
I
How
have.
is it?
It's better that I haven't, that I've not paid for it.
Right.
There were a lot of new people in there, so I think the player base has improved, but they're...
2,500% increase in players, apparently.
But, as Pat has just said about Rec Room, the quality of human involved in the gaming was lacking.
Oh dear.
Everybody was... I mean, we were like level 1 to 5, and the level 4 was saying, "Oh, fucking medic, you don't know what your job," and he was a level 1. Well, you were like that one day, prickhead. Stop. I find that unreasonable.
Yeah.
But the game,
So-
I thought the gameplay was okay. It seemed, I don't remember what it was. We did the beta or the open beta or something, didn't we? I think we had a go with that.
Yeah, something like that. They've made it easier for you to know where the monster is or something.
Yes.
I heard.
And that was okay. We didn't own the monster, except when I was the monster, and then I died very quickly. But
It seems like it always was really hard to play as the monster.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I think I'm, apart from Overwatch, that's the game we're playing, isn't it? That's how long ago I've played it. Apart from that, I think I'm probably done with this kind of game.
I know what you mean. When I first saw the build-up for Evolve, I thought it looks very interesting. You know, the idea of taking on a monster. I thought there were actually going to be decent-sized maps rather than the kind of arena shooter that it turned out to be. I think that and Titanfall suffered with the same thing, which was it looked like it was going to be promising. But in reality, what you got delivered was a shortened experience version in which you burn out very quickly, and then you're sated. Yes, that's it.
It's almost like this sort of it's asymmetric, they call it, isn't it? It's almost like it sounds fun, but in practice, I think people just want a level playing field.
Yeah. And I think I would rather give something like Dead by Daylight a go, where one of you's a axe murderer and everybody else is trying to run away from him and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because that's just tongue-in-cheek, a bit grim, certainly some nasty bits, but there's no. I think from what I've seen of other people playing it, it feels like it's a level playing field. Whereas this, if you get a medic who doesn't know what he's doing, you're basically fucked. And so, Evolve rather.
I kind of think the way they're describing it, they should just bite the bullet and make it a one game, and one person plays as Godzilla, and the rest of you have to run for your life, taking down whatever bits you've got,
you can stay alive for.
avoiding being in the skyscraper that's getting toppled over. Yeah. You know, that would be quite a fun game where you're literally there's a sense of peril. You're running from the monster and trying to kill it.
There's 4 of you running away from a murderer who's going to get you and hang you up by a meter hook, shoving a meter hook in your back and dangle you from a tree.
Can one of you turn the tables though at the last minute and become the hero?
I don't know. I'm always falling asleep when I watch people playing that on YouTube. So maybe one of you turn into the Evolve monster at the end. I don't know.
Crossover asking to happen.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Talking of multiplayer stuff, but in VR, you mentioned there's a couple of games on here, Pat. I don't know which one you want to tackle first. But...
I don't know which one I want to tackle first because they're. Oh, Jesus.
Raw Data is the one that seems to be getting both of them.
I'm going to talk about Battledome first because that's the first one I bought, and I've put 10 or so hours into it so far. Oh man, Battledome. It's the most graphically simple VR game I think there is.
Yeah, I looked at the screenshots of this and was like, this has to be fun. Because there's no way
it barely has any graphics. It really doesn't. I mean, essentially, like I guess I describe it kind of like a game of paintball, except that your movement is restricted to where you put paint. So in the left hand, you start off. You've got a paint gun, and that fires your team's colour out into the map. And when your team's colour is on the floor, you can teleport to that space. And you have a gun in the other hand, and there's many different guns. There's like bazookas, there's pistols, there's lightsabers. There's a shield you can have instead of having the paint gun once you've put a bit of your own colour down. There's many, many different ways of playing the game. There's multiple different maps, so there's lots of different strategies involved. It is immensely addictive. It's got a real just one more game thing, even to the point where you're just pouring with sweat.
Cool.
It's so absolutely addictive. It's paintball is a good way of describing it, I think, because there's lots of kind of crouching behind cover, like a hell of a lot of crouching behind cover, and trying to take positions and hold positions. Enormously strategic. Like it basically is pure strategy, really. In fact, I've kind of found ways on certain maps that you can pretty much guarantee if you sacrifice attacking the other team members and just become a kind of what I call a paint berserker. You can pretty much. I can pretty much guarantee I can win every game. That I can make my team win every single game. I may not get any kills, but there's, do you know what I mean? There's certain strategic painting techniques that I've found will pretty much mess up most players. So a lot of kind of dual thinking going on, because you're trying. You've got a strategy, and then you've got the very quick, seconds of reaction time agency, like where you're shooting the other players. It's just pure fun. It's literally just pure fun. Feels like you're in like Laser Quest or something in a massive warehouse.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, hilarious. I've said it's about every single game that's like this, really. All the kind of multiplayer things. Like, this is how the VR games are going to be. This is how they're going to feel. Like, and they're going to be tons of ones with like loads more graphics and glitz and stuff on it. But to know that you can kind of achieve this much fun with like no graphics or even decent sound design or any of those things, that's very, very promising. It's very exciting.
I think I heard that the paint mechanic might have come from a game on those Nintendo toys called Splatoon.
Yeah, I've seen similar things.
It sounds similar to that.
Sorry to be so derogatory there to Nintendo, but
I don't know if it's Nintendo or if it's on Xbox.
Oh no, it's definitely
Nintendo. Games where you have to kind of paint your way around the map and stuff.
There's a very recent one where you're all kind of squid people. I've seen like a few videos of it, and you've got like a little squirt paint gun. It's very top down, I think.
You're not thinking
of
like
team versus team play.
God, I forgot the name of it. I think it was an Insomniac game. I don't know.
I can't remember.
I think Splatoon worked that way though, because it was like paintball. So I don't know.
But that is it. That's a great game. I think I played about 10 hours of that one so far, and I've only. This is a weird thing that I've found. I've kind of mentioned this before, but like I've lost a load of weight from playing computer games. Like my stomach is as flat as it was when I was about 25, like 10 years ago, and it's only from playing computer games. I haven't been down the gym, haven't done anything else. Literally, and it's this game. It's Battledome, and it's because it's from crouching behind cover. So basically, if you're crouching behind cover and getting up all the time to take pot shots, you're just working out your core. And you are accidentally having a little gym session.
You're basically
playing shoot 'em up.
You're basically a Marine, at this point.
Yeah, you're basically all of these games sort of make you feel like you're in some weird simulator, training to be like a super soldier in the future or something.
There's a beautiful. There's some good reviews on Steam for this, and what you've just said about the losing weight stuff might be enough for me to convince the wife that we need one of these. However, I'm reading some of them, but one of my favourite comments or reviews for this is, literally feels like I'm playing laser tag, but I can be naked in my living room. Which might be another reason why.
But that is pretty much it, isn't it? Like, you could... That's why these things are so cool. You can just kind of just jump into them. And there's no prep, there's no driving into town to do, there's nothing.
Yeah,
it's just
no queuing,
play game.
Well,
like that's why it's. Yeah, you'd get more out of going and playing an actual game of paintball or laser tag, sure, but the fact that you can just immediately just switch on that experience is just like mental.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was just watching the video. It does look fun, actually. You can kind of start thinking all the little creative ways and stuff.
Absolutely, like some of the cool things that have happened. Like so, in a few games, when my team was kind of dominating, but the other team was starting to win back, I would put down the gun and pick up the lightsaber. And then when you got the lightsaber, what you have to do is get incredibly close to the other member, because you can't throw it or anything like that. So you sort of teleport behind them, and then basically what you're doing is making all of the other team have lightsabers appear out of their chest, because you killed them from behind. And it's just like, it's so funny because like the other team members find it funny too. So everyone's just like laughing at this like hilarious thing that's going on. And yeah, it's just brilliant. And like being a paint berserker as well, like. There's an element of trolling, because they're obviously trying so hard to stop you because you're dominating the space for your team. So if they're shooting at you and you're just continuing to spray all around you, it's just so baiting. It's hilarious. And yeah, like following the other team members around and going over the paint they've just done and like just getting people swearing at you. So raw data is incredible. It's basically like the first like it's kind of AAA VR game, I guess. So
it does look good.
It's like really, really high production values. Looks great, sounds great. It's early access. It's actually quite complete though. I think they're releasing content essentially for every 2 weeks. And that content's basically new levels, new characters, and new weapons, I think. But basically, what happens is it's set in a kind of futuristic, cyberpunk, Japanese robotics factory. And you are some kind of cyberpunk criminal that's been hired to break into this facility and steal data. So in each level, you're lowered down in a lift. And you're just talking to your operative back at headquarters, and you've got to hack this system. And as you hack it, the security system is activated, and you've just got to fight it off whilst you hack the system. The main game mechanics of it are dependent on the classes. So at the moment there's two different classes. There's going to be 4 eventually by December, I think. But the ones that are in there now are the Cyber Ninja. And the Cyber Ninja has a katana as the main weapon.
Cool.
And they both kind of unlock extra abilities as you defeat levels. But she starts off. I think her first ability is basically one where she sort of throws herself up in the air and then comes down crashing and destroys everything that's sort of in a close proximity. But it's largely based around her swordplay. So you teleport just like you do in lots of other kind of Vive games, but you actually see it as you teleport. So it doesn't cut off. You feel the teleportation. You actually burst forward. Which feels great, by the way. And you don't have a disconnect in the space. You know exactly where you are all the time. You don't sort of lose where you are and then sort of like have to re-find your space. So like you kind of teleporting around and you're sort of swinging down and like decapitating these robots. She has a special move, which is, I was biting my tongue when we were talking about lightsabers earlier, because this is something that I totally noticed immediately from the first time I used it. There's a mechanic in it that the ninja uses, which you're going to see again in the future in a Star Wars game where you've got a lightsaber. In Star Wars games where you throw the lightsaber and it spins like Vader does to Luke.
Yeah.
You do that in it. You can do that in it. But even more so than that, you have a kind of telekinesis, so that once the controllers, you use the grip button on the controller. And once you've got the grip button on the controller, if you swing with enough motion, if you just kind of throw your motion as if you're throwing the sword forward, and then you just release your little pinky off the grip button, it flies out. And it flies out into the room. But once you've let go of it, you can also control its direction by moving the controller.
Oh, it's like the blades in Dead Space.
Yep.
It makes you feel like a Jedi. It makes you feel like a Jedi throwing a lightsaber. And you can like take out like so many enemies just by kind of directing that sword as it swings through. And it's so good. It's so kind of visceral. And you've got all these sparks coming off everything and explosions everywhere. And then you've got the other class is the gun cleric. And if you've seen the film Equilibrium, you can totally see where they've got the idea from. So he's basically he's got one pistol, and at the start you have to manually reload. So you've got a holstered gun. You pull out your gun out of the holster, and then you pull ammo out from the other side, and you load it in. But you can unlock an ability, so you've got like an auto reload where you just put your gun near your holster, and it will auto reload. But you have to unlock that by doing levels. He has a charge mode, so you can fire I think it's 15 normal bullets, or you can hold it down and do like a massive charge burst, which will cut through like scores of robots. It will take out like everything in front of it, unless it's like a heavy armored bot. And you can, I think you can get like extra guns as like an extra ability, so you can have like 2 pistols at once and stuff. You find yourself kind of darting around, teleporting around and shooting things sort of directly in the face. You find yourself kind of ducking down and doing all sorts of crazy things. It's the teams that made it said that they were all like hardcore action film fans, and they you can tell that they basically tried to build a simulator of those experiences, those kind of film experiences, and they have succeeded with every single thing they've done in it. You absolutely feel like an action hero in this game. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's got, and there's more to it as well. I mean, like, it's got a great amount of, there's great humour. There's the you've obviously kind of tricked the security bots into thinking you're a potential customer, because as it starts off, the AI is kind of talking to you as if it's like selling you robots and stuff, and it's got great humour with the different characteristics of the kind of AI bot as it's talking. So there's kind of cool humour in it as well. It's not a sort of kind of story driven game. It's very much, it's more like something like Left 4 Dead. It's, like immense amounts of replayability. Even after I unlocked the second level, I kept going back and playing the first one, mainly because the second level was basically Ravenholm. They put the horror level in the second one, and it's horrible. All these like robot undead things crawling on the floor with no legs and jumping up at you and grabbing onto your body and stuff. Proper creepy. But yeah, it's huge amounts of replayability. And multiplayer. Holy shit. Multiplayer in this game is amazing. So you start it as normal, you're in the lift and everything. Sorry, you're in the foyer at the start. And then you get in the lift once you've chosen your mission and stuff. And then you're just darting around in this crazy kind of dance of death with these other players. At the moment, I think it's only meant to be 2-player, but the game I just played just before the podcast, there was 3 of us in there, and I don't know if that was a bug or what, but it was mental. So there was one. I was the gun cleric. There was another gun cleric and a ninja, and so the ninja's kind of darting in and sort of taking in things close quarters, while I'm sort of doing the charge burst, and the other player's doing more kind of sort of long distance stuff, taking out the sky drones that are coming in as well. I think each game is about kind of like, each match is about sort of like 8 to 10 minutes or so, depending on how it goes. But like I said, like immense replayability. It's basically I wouldn't say it's the VR game I've been waiting for. I didn't really know I wanted that game as much as I kind of enjoyed it, but it's probably the VR game that a lot of people were waiting for.
It sounds like it's really taking advantage of the limitations of the system, or the strengths. The strengths.
It uses the limitations as strengths essentially, because the teleportation is now a game mechanic. It's not a way of getting around simulator sickness. It's now a fun thing. It's like, I'm going to teleport right up to that robot and shoot him blank in the face.
Yeah.
There's even a teleport attack where you teleport into the enemies, and it will like knock them off of bridges and stuff, and they'll just really explode.
Oh, that's cool.
Charge attack.
So and like it's just immense. It's just so kind of. I've said this about every single VR thing, that like they're all pretty much 50% experiential as well. Like they're all like half a game, half an experience. This one totally knows that and totally embraces it, and it just gets everything right. It just gets everything so right. And so as long as the additional classes they add, kind of are as good as the current ones, like this is not the killer app, but definitely like it's in the realms of a killer app, if that makes sense. Like I can see myself playing this for months and months and months.
I can see
myself playing this until someone else replaces it, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is nothing. This is ridiculous, but the levels themselves. What are like the win conditions? Is it just staying alive, or is it?
There's different types of games. So there's the first one is just getting through waves. So you've got to go and return to the console and reactivate it to get more data and stuff, but it's essentially just waves. But in the second one, you have to protect a core. So the security bots are trying to shut down the data core, and you've got to protect it to steal the data.
Right.
There's other kind of elements to it as well, in that it's not really tower defense, but you can put down turret guns.
Oh yeah, I saw that in the screenshot.
Where you place those obviously kind of changes the dynamic of some of the levels as well. I don't know if there's any more like different types of game types, because I've only unlocked 3 of them so far. But it changes very, very much depending on which class you've chosen. Like the second level is really hard to play with the gun cleric, and is a lot easier to play with when you've got a katana, because there's lots of things jumping up at your face and you've got to kind of swipe them out mid-air, and things get really close up, and because it's so dark you don't see things until they're really close up. So like melee is the way forward for that level, but you can play it with the gun cleric, so that really kind of changes the dynamic of each level. But it's definitely it's definitely like one of the coolest games I've played, and it's a very, very good way of selling VR, I think, to someone who's never tried it before. And if you love films like Equilibrium, The Matrix, stuff like this game is absolute porn, like pure experiential porn. You will feel like a cyberpunk Jedi ninja. And
awesome.
And you will actually feel like it. That's awesome. That's kind of what I want in a computer. Really,
it looks like that's what they were going for. Really,
that's definitely what they were going for. Yeah.
Just curious, the gun cleric, as we're calling him. Would he have a close-up melee attack?
You can punch them
because
with guns,
you'd think because the katana's got the ranged one, obviously.
Yeah, you can.
You'd think a form of balance, wouldn't you?
I think you can just punch just with your spare hand as well. But I think you can punch them with the gun. You can also I don't know if you do this with a single gun, but when you've got 2 guns, you can hold them together and it forms a kind of shield. So when you've got laser blasts coming towards you, can actually do a makeshift shield.
If
you can't get out of the way.
Agent 47 sort of pose.
Yeah, and there's lots of kind of like queuing up of the movement. So you'll have your finger on the teleport button ready to move. So there's lots of like very last minute movements.
Oh, so you buffer the movement and then you do it and then you... Oh, brilliant. Nice.
Which is another kind of strategic thing, because you're shooting at something and deciding where you're going to move to in a split second. And it's like, it really kind of keeps you on your toes all the time. Very, very kind of... very hard, very kind of cerebral game.
Yeah. That sounds great, because it sounds like they're trying to make virtual reality almost tap into that fast-paced craziness that used to be exclusive for, either console or PC gaming and everything else. Because, before you were too worried about motion blur and sickness and all the other things. Whereas it seems like these people are just going for it and just thinking, we'll worry about all that later. We'll just sort it out.
It doesn't make you sick. The method they've chosen it's not a poor choice. It's not a risky choice. All they've done really is use the teleport, but haven't switched the camera off. Had that quick movement, because it's so quick. I just don't think your brain registers it as normal, like acceleration, and that's why I don't think it makes you sick.
And so much of
more like a dash sort of thing.
Yeah, so much of the VR stuff that I've tried has kind of just been about sort of creating a great feeling, and it's not really. It goes way beyond sort of what looks cool and what.
They either do like one or the other. Or both, but this definitely does both.
Yeah, if they can hit that sweet spot, then...
I mean, like Zenblade started off with not the greatest graphics, although now it looks really, really nice. But it didn't really matter at the start, because it was just the agency of swinging a sword around.
Yeah.
Same with like the archery one. It was all about just that agency of being an archer. Whereas things like the Blue don't have to have game mechanics, because you feel like kind of overwhelmed by the experience. But the raw data does both at the same time, and that's why it's such a this is it. This is what they're going to feel like, because you don't feel like you're missing anything out. You're getting like a very concentrated form of both things in like this kind of 8 minutes of gameplay. Yeah, brilliant.
This has been the Not Playing podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching podcast.
And Marcus.
And Marcus as well. And Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk. If you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. 5 stars will help us. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Bye.